Hi. What a rowdy crowd. I love it. Welcome, friends, and welcome to UUCC Catskills. I'm Catherine Catabiani, a member of the UUCC Worship Committee. UU Catskills, UUCC. Thank you for joining us this morning. If you're new and watching on Zoom and would like to be added to the mailing list, you're invited to type your name and email into the chat box. If you're new and here with us in the sanctuary, you are invited to stand and introduce yourself if you wish. But you don't have to. I came for 6 months before I introduced myself. Whether on Zoom or here in person, welcome. All ages are welcome here. The young ones are invited to stay for the whole service today and have a part in it. Should any of you need to move about freely, there's a room across the hall to which the service is piped. And then after the service, don't run away. Those of you on Zoom can connect with friends in the breakout room, and those of you in the sanctuary are invited to stay for the social hour. Please contribute $1 or $2 to pay for the cookies and the coffee. And I hope you all noticed the announcements that were on the screen before the service, thanks to Kathy Atwell. We are an active congregation, even in the summertime. To find out everything that is going on at UU Catskills, you may visit our website at uucatskills.org. Unfortunately, COVID is still with us. Our featured speaker and musician today, Carol and Jeff Reiter, were exposed to the dreaded COVID, so they are remaining masked. They're using their own mics, and then they're slipping out quickly afterwards. Which leads us to next week, when Reverend Craig Schwallenberg is going to be here, and because of his family, he has requested that all of us wear masks next Sunday. And those of you in person, but those of you on Zoom, masks are optional. So special thanks to Zoom host Tom Hackett and our sanctuary technical wizard, Bruce Wilde. Unitarian Universalism is a liberal religious faith that carries no creed and welcomes all seekers. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life's journey, you are welcome here. We live our principles on a daily basis. At UU Catskills, we recognize our sanctuary was built on Lenni Lenape ancestral land. We affirm Black Lives Matter. We are a welcoming congregation for members of the LGBTQ+ community. We are a congregational affiliate of the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network. We're active voices in the effort to address climate change. Our prelude this morning is played by our own Bill Toole, Sonatina in E-flat, the Allegro Cantabile bit by Ludwig van Beethoven.
we can all hear the echo of that childhood chant. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never harm me. Well, the longer we live, the more we realize the fallacy of that childhood chant. Words have power. Words can wound deeper and more lasting than a bruised knee or wrist. This morning, we hope you will share some words you consider powerful or tender or heartfelt, which you have written down for today's service. There will be an opportunity during our service where you will be able to share a brief sentence or two whose meaning has entered your being. In a way, this will be like a flower communion, except it's a communion of words. And you can even take a sentence or two home with you.
Please join me as we say our unison affirmation. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love to all living beings. May we know once again that we are not isolated, but connected in wonder and joy, to mystery and miracle, in the universe, in this community, and in each other. I was going to invite all the children to come up and light the chalice, but we have one.
Just a minute, gotta burn my fingers. They're under your chest. You got it? No.
We light this chalice
in grateful love and community. Even in the darkest of times, may explain life paths to courage, justice, and hope.
So, come join me as we sing. Come sing a song with me.
That I might know your mind.
So the next section is called Roadmap, but actually, Carol gave you a lot of the roadmap. This is what you need to know and what direction we're going in. In the past few weeks, you've been asked to write something or find something that inspires, challenges, sustains you, and to write it on a piece of paper or a card or something, and you've all brought them in, right? No. That's okay, because both Carol and I sort of stacked the deck a little bit just in case. And then at the end, Amal and other people are going to come up and they're going to, I don't need you quite yet, but I will. I'm going to use her throughout the service. But she's going to get to hand them out to you. You don't get to pick. It's like the flower communion. So, all right, now, we're going to go into joys and sorrows. Jeff is going to play the Dirty Word song by Rick Maston.
First I have to figure out, get involved with this stuff here.
Jeff, take off your
Oh, yeah. An extra little tidbit. Okay. Just a word about Rick Maston, who wrote this song. It was only one song among many, many songs that he's written, and you probably know him from the song "Let It Be a Dance," who's in the hymnal. He was a very special person. He was a troubadour, a poet, and a folk singer, and without attending seminary, he became a UU minister in 1971 and was known nationwide in UUs as a traveling musical ambassador of liberal religion. So what would be a better introduction to the power of words than a dirty word song? It's only fair to warn you about the next song you hear. It gets a little nasty and it could offend your ear. You're gonna find the language a trifle strong, 'cause I'm about to sing you my dirty word song. Actually, Rick's dirty word song, but he lent it to me. Dirty words, I'm gonna say a few. Real dirty words like doggy poo. You give a boy a pencil and you put him in the hall. Turn your back and dirty words appear on every wall. But force him to talk naughty for an hour each day, and you'll take all the fun of the dirty words away. Dirty words, boys talk naughty. They say dirty words like potty. I'm not talking about birthday potty either. Now, when your second grader starts saying dirty stuff, swearing like a trooper, well, it's time to call her bluff. She likes to think she's being a real obscene, and she don't even know what the dirty words mean. Dirty words, she swears like a trooper, saying real dirty words like pooper. Now, wouldn't it be awful if people didn't swear, and when you bang your finger, you just give a silent prayer? If suddenly the dirty words all were clean, would the poetry improve in the men's latrine? Dirty words, be glad you got 'em. Real dirty words like bottom. I wonder what would happen if no one were profane. If no one could remember a single dirty name. I wonder if they'd scribble on the bathroom door filthy, dirty things like hate and war. Dirty words, there's no excuse for filthy, dirty things like hate and war.
Thank you, Jeff. Okay, It's time for our offering. Please give generously. You can give in several ways. You can drop something in the basket when it is passed. You can use the QR code on the back of it's at the top and the second page of your program. You can also go to uucatskills.org. We also contribute to worthy organizations with our half-plate donation. The money is shared among 7 charitable groups. Remember, the fragrance always remains in the hand that gives the rose. Our offertory is Sonatina E-flat, the Andante movement by Beethoven, played by Bill Toole. Thank you, Bill. And thank you, everyone, for your generosity. Okay, in your program it says, the power of words. Carol has some wonderful things she's going to share with us. You're going to share with us. The children are going to share with us. And I decided to get in on it too, so I have a little something as well. So we will begin with Carol.
Which I first began reading about 18 years ago as a daily habit. At first, it reminded me of a book of days that medieval women read for comfort and direction in their daily lives. I continue to read it daily, not necessarily, though, in the order of the intended date. Sharing the Climb is a June 11th entry, but its wisdom is without the confines of a date. The climb was long. The day was hot. Tom thought ahead and had frozen his warm bottle so that his water would stay cold. But once he drank what had melted, he was left with a small chunk of ice rattling in his plastic bottle. That was when Bill, another climber, who hadn't thought ahead, asked Tom to share his ice. Bill had plenty of water, but it was hot from the climb in the sun. Tom was glad to share his ice and tried to break the chunk up so he could pass up chips into Bill's bottle. After a long frustration, it occurred to Tom to let Bill pour his hot water over the ice and then to let Bill drink from his bottle. That small moment changed Tom's life. He suddenly realized that if he let things in, he could share more easily than if he kept breaking things down in order to get them out. As he came back down into his world, he understood three mysteries of sharing. First, if there's time, let the cold things thaw. But if there is no time, let the warm things in. And only when necessary, break the hard things remaining and pray like hell you can pass them. Let the energy of the thaw you're preparing make you drinkable.
Okay. Amal and her sister and Jake were asked for words that they felt were important, and Amal is going to read them for us.
Good friends, we are not alone, not feeling dark, but okay. Snow, the sunshine, my favorite animal, the smell of flowers, the breeze, sound of birds, not mad but happy.
Thank you. And if somebody gets one of the kids' ones, they're in red. Okay, I have a short one. I didn't want Carol to have all the fun. So sometimes insight comes from unexpected places. Example, I worked for 3 summers at the old Woodstock Playhouse, building sets, hanging and running lights. For 2 summers, I was the only female on the lights. It was heavy work lugging hefty lights up and down the ladders. I took a lot of ribbing because I was a girl, and I learned to give as good as I got. The boys kept telling me that girls can't hang heavy licos, which are around 20 pounds. They were strong enough to climb up the pipes, lift the lights above their heads and hang them. But I found that if I climbed up the A-frame and then went up the extension higher than the males and got above the pipe from which I had to hang the lights, I could control the weight and the positioning. In other words, if you get above something, you can have power over it. It's physics and it's common sense. And that metaphorically has been a lesson in my life. If I find myself in the midst of a challenge that seems too heavy to lift or complicated to manage, too overwhelming, I try to get above it so I can look down at it from a distance and give myself more control. Get above it.
This is called Coffee Bean, Egg, and Carrot. And I don't know who wrote it, but I keep a journal, and every time I find something that is worthy of keeping, I write in my journal. I've got about 8 books like that. This is it. A young woman went to her mother and told her about her life and how things were so hard for her. She did not know how she was going to make it and wanted to give up. She was tired of fighting and struggling. It seemed as if one problem was solved and a new one appeared. Her mother took her into the kitchen, where she filled 3 pots with water. In the first pot, she placed carrots. In the second pot, she placed eggs. And in the last pot, she placed ground coffee beans. She let them sit and boil without saying a word. After about 20 minutes, she turned off the burners. Then the mother fished the carrots out and placed them in a bowl. She pulled the eggs out and placed them in a bowl, and then she ladled the coffee into a bowl. Turning to her daughter, she asked, "Tell me, what do you see?" "Carrots, eggs, and coffee," she replied. The mother brought her daughter closer and asked her to feel the carrots. She did, and she noted that the carrots were now soft. The mother then asked her daughter to take an egg from the bowl and break it open. After pulling off the shell, the daughter observed the hard-boiled egg. Finally, the mother asked her daughter to sip the coffee. The daughter smiled as she tasted the flavor and smelled its aroma. The daughter then asked, "What's the point, Mother?" Her mother explained that each of these objects had faced the same adversity, boiling water, but each reacted differently. The carrot went into the water strong, hard, and unrelenting. However, after being subjected to the boiling water, it softened and became weak. The egg had been fragile. Its thin outer shell protected its liquid interior, but after being through the boiling water, its inside became hardened. The ground coffee beans were unique, however. After they were in the boiling water, they had changed the water. "Which are you?" she asked her daughter. "When adversity knocks at your door, how do you respond? Are you a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean?" Think of this. Which am I? Am I the carrot that seems strong, but with pain and adversity, do I wilt and become soft and lose my strength? Or am I the egg that starts with a malleable heart and changes with the heat? Did I have a fluid spirit, but after death, a breakup, a financial hardship, or some other trial, have I become hardened and stiff? Does my shell look the same, but on the inside, am I bitter and tough with a stiff spirit and hardened heart? Or am I like the coffee bean? The bean actually changes the water, the very circumstances that brings the pain. When the water gets hot, it releases the fragrance and flavor. If you are the bean when things are at their worst, you get better and change the situation around you. When the hours are the darkest and the trials are the greatest to do you elevate to another level? How do you handle adversity? Are you a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean? When it rains, it pours. Maybe the art of life is to convert tough times to great experiences. We can choose to hate the rain or dance in it. Choose to dance in the rain, or in this case, drink the damn coffee.
Thank you. Okay, so do some of you have wisdom for us? Okay, hold on.
Oh, okay, I have to read it. Okay.
You have to read it, and
I have
you're
to
going
read
to read it.
All right. For those of you who sort of know me, I moved 800 miles in 2020 to someplace I didn't know anybody. So this is on my refrigerator. It's time to go, said Bear. But where are we going, asked Rabbit. Forward, said Bear. We can't stay here anymore. So much has happened here, though, I don't know that I can move on, said Rabbit. You can stay if you want, said Bear, but life won't wait with you. It won't, asked Rabbit. No, said Bear. Besides, up ahead, there might be something wonderful. You think so, asked Rabbit. I think, said Bear. If you stay here, you'll never know.
Hi, I'm Joyce White. I use she, they pronouns. Everything will be okay in the end. And if you think that it's not, you just haven't gotten there yet.
If someone arrives late for an appointment and we need reassurance that she cares about us, we may feel hurt. If instead our need is to spend time purposefully and constructively, we may feel frustrated. But if our need is for 30 minutes of quiet solitude, we may be grateful for her tardiness. Thus, it is not the behavior of the other person, but our own need that causes the feeling. When we are connected with our need, whether it is for reassurance, purposefulness, or solitude, we may have strong feelings, but we are never angry. Anger indicates that we are analyzing or judging someone else, rather than focusing on which of our needs is not getting met. Marshall Rosenberg, Nonviolent Communication.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Regina, and I remember reading this in high school, and it's from Maud Miller. And the lines, well, it's basically a young gentleman passes by a farm, and he sees a young girl, and she's the milkmaid, and he looks at her life and wishes he had that instead of the fanciness that he had to endure, and she looks at his and wishes she had that life because her life was a little bit harder than that. And the lines that stand out are, of all sad words of tongue or pen, the saddest are these, it might have been.
This is a short, I'm Barbara, this is a short poem by Mary Oliver. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go.
This is a lyric of a song that I wrote about immigration, and it's heaven has no borders. Are you a border crosser?
What you are seeking is seeking you, Rumi.
This morning, a river as flat as the sky, whispering water calling me.
This is a Kurdish saying that I learned a few months ago from a Kurdish friend. If you don't ask, the answer is always no.
My name's Joanne Steele. This is from the teachings of Don Juan Carlos Castaneda. I read it at the poetry evening on Thursday. Does this path have a heart? All paths are the same. They lead nowhere. They are paths going through the bush or into the bush. Does this path have a heart? If it does, the path is good. If it doesn't, it is of no use. Both paths lead nowhere, but one has a heart. The other doesn't. One makes for a joyful journey. As long as you follow it, you are one with it. The other will make you curse life. One makes you strong. The other weakens you.
I didn't write anything down, but I have a motto that I live by. The only time we should ever look down on a human being is if we're giving them a hand up.
Anyone else?
Years ago, I was at a New Year's Eve party, and we all shared quotes like this, and it was really a wonderful party to start off the new year. And the one that I picked out, it wasn't my choice. I picked it out of the basket that was at the party, and it was a question that we might all ask ourselves. And the question was, must you see in order to believe, or must you believe first in order to see?
I think we should rename the service 1,000 Sermons. This is... Okay. Now we're going to have another song, a sermon in music. Last night I had The Strangest Dream by Ed McCurdy.
Oops. I don't think you want to hear the dirty word song again. Last night I had the strangest dream I'd ever dreamed before. I dreamed the world had all agreed to put an end to war. I dreamed I saw a mighty room filled with women and men, and the paper they were signing said they'd never fight again. And when the paper was all signed and 1,000,000 copies made, they all joined hands and bowed their heads, and grateful prayers were prayed. And the people in the street below were dancing round and round, and swords and guns and uniforms were scattered on the ground. Last night I had the strangest dream I'd never dreamed before. I dreamed the world had all agreed to put an end to war.
Carol has one more, and then we're going to exchange pieces of wisdom.
I see you. Another reminder to us of our humanness by Mark Nepo. Mark Nepo was also another ribbon of memory in my Unitarian Universalist life. In the early 1970s, two of our daughters were already attending the religious education program at our UU in Miami. And one of the very first stories they heard was about the Bushmen of the Kalahari. In 1963, Marlin Perkins, those of you old enough to remember, had already written a book about these people. And in the 1990s, I would be part of a very fortunate group of 11 teachers selected from around the country to be at the Smithsonian to spend 2 weeks exploring and writing within the galleries of their several museums, where one of the galleries at the time was showing an exhibit of the Bushmen of the Kalahari. And the words these people shared, and still do, which encapsulates and rejoices in their humanness, are the words with which their tribe's people greet one another. I see you, and I saw you from afar. The latter I had heard from the lips of our own daughter, Joy, as she started there in the 70s, about how these people would greet one another. Our own Joy was small, and even today, as a woman in her early 60s, she remains short, but the words, I saw you from afar, she understood fully. With those words could, and still do, these tribesmen of the Kalahari lift these people up. Mark Nepo's words. For centuries, African Bushmen have greeted each other with the words, I see you and I saw you from afar. They say this when one becomes aware of his brother and sister coming out of the brush. I see you. And then the one approaching rejoices, I am here. This timeless bearing witness is both simple and profound, and it is telling that much of our modern therapeutic journey, which suffers to this end, to have who we are and where we've been be seen. For this simple and direct affirmation, it is possible to claim our presence, to say, I am here. Those people in our lives who have validated our personhood by seeing us and exclaiming, are the foundations of our self-worth. Think of who they are. For Mark Nepo, the first to rejoice at his scrambling into the open was his grandmother. If not for her unequivocal love, he writes that he might never have had the courage to express himself at all. And after all, isn't art in all its forms the beautiful trail of our all too human attempts to say again and again, I am here? Nepo says, it is important to note that being seen enables us to claim our lives, and then it becomes possible to pass the gift on to others. But just as important as the bearing witness is the joy with which these Bushmen proclaim what they see. It is the joy of first seeing, in first knowing. This is the gift of love. According to Nepo, in a culture that erases its humanity, that keeps the act of innocence and beginning invisible, we are sorely in need of being seen with joy so we can proclaim with equal astonishment and innocence that of all the amazing things that could have been or not, we are here. as far back as we can remember, people of the oldest tribes, unencumbered by civilization, have been rejoicing in being on earth together. Not only can we do this for each other, it is essential, for as stars need space to be seen, as waves need shore to crest, as dew needs grass to soak into, our vitality depends on how we explain and exclaim and rejoice. I see you. I am here. I see you.
Okay. Now, we lost our youngster, so Ellen, will you be our youngster? Ellen is going to hand out the cards while Jeff accompanies us on the guitar. Like the flower communion, you don't know what you're going to get. That's up to Ellen. It may be a metaphorical, you can start if you want, sweet-smelling rose or one with thorns. It may be a daisy, which makes you smile. It may be just what you needed. Okay.
This, by the way, is just noodling. I'm learning what I'm doing as I'm doing it. That's it.
Thank you. Okay. We're now going to sing Swimming to the Other Side by Pat Humphries. You should all have the words. We are all swimming in the stream together, some in power and some in pain. Loving spirits, we live together. We're all swim to the other side. So let us extinguish. Would you like to do that, Ellen? As we extinguish the chalice, let's say our words. We extinguish this chalice, not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together